Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's NFL 14 Week 14 recap. I'm Mason Spassky, your host. As you can probably tell, we are in a different location. This is actually my first time filming here, and it is on our couch. So definitely an interesting place to film, that's for sure. I don't know why I felt like doing this today. I just felt like today would be a good day to do it for sure. So here we are on my couch, ready to talk about some football. So without further ado, here we go. First things first, I'm going to try my best to look at the camera well, but I'm sorry if it looks a little down, or I'm looking a little down and all that. As you can see, probably there's some reflection. I don't think it's from the picture. It's either from the picture or one of those two window sides over there of my eyes, so I'll try to minimize that and try to do my best in terms of that. So, yeah. Without further ado, here we go. Let's get into some football. Obviously, Thursday night, we talked about that on the Steelers game day post-game, so that one was divided into two parts this week. I'm sorry about that, so please do both parts if possible. Now, moving on to Sunday NFL football, we're going to start in the Big Apple, where the New York Jets pulled off a major upset, 30-6 over the Houston Texans Sunday afternoon. This one was definitely interesting and confusing for sure. This week as a whole in the NFL was very confusing, and last night, Monday Night Football, was the perfect example, but we'll save the confusing part for last, like we always do. So here's the deal. I can't believe the Jets won. Zach Wilson signed. He was impressive for sure. DeMeco Ryans, he organizes one of the best defenses in the league, and they couldn't even stop Zach Wilson. It felt like Philly for a little bit, the Philly game against the Jets, which we'll get to later, we'll get to Philly later, not the Philly game against the Jets. If you want to hear more about that game, view my NFL Week 6 recap. Highly recommend it. So, yeah. Anyway, though, back on to Houston and the Jets. Couple takeaways from this. Jets are okay. They're not as bad as people think. Yes, they do have a quarterback problem without Aaron Rodgers, but this roster is really close. You can't blame anybody for the Jets not being good this year. Aaron Rodgers unfortunately got hurt. It was an unfortunate thing for the Jets, so they're already at 5 wins. They'll beat the Commanders, I think, and then they play the Patriots at the end of the year, which they have a legitimate chance at winning. I wouldn't say, though, that's their best chance. I think if they beat the Commanders this week, that would put them at 6-11. If you do beat the Patriots or possibly pull off an upset against the Browns, you'll be 7-10. If you had Rodgers, you'd easily be 9-8 and in the playoff hunt right now. So this team, I would give Robert Saleh another year as the head coach for sure. I think he deserves one more shot in 2024 to prove if he could get to the playoffs with a healthy Rodgers. As for the Texans, C.J. Stroud got hurt. I really hope he's better for next week. Hopefully he does do good next week. Yeah, but this is just a thing. Everybody's saying C.J. Stroud for MVP, C.J. Stroud for MVP. He is nowhere near MVP caliber yet. Yes, he has had a good rookie year. Yes, I was wrong on him in the draft. But guess what? He is nowhere near MVP caliber. So I would shut up if I were on the C.J. Stroud MVP train. Because, once he faces these defenses like the Jets, he's going to get exposed. The Jets have one of the better defenses in the league, for sure. And they destroyed him. Think about that. Yeah, they just destroyed him. So that's definitely interesting for sure. Moral of the story is this. He is good in certain situations. But once he faces a top-tier defense, lights go out. Look at him against Baltimore. He didn't do very good. Even the Colts struggled at times. He didn't even put up a lot of points against Atlanta. 13 points against Carolina. Who's pathetic? So the guy, he only put up 13 points. I had to review something first. But the guy only put up 13 points against Carolina. So, 13 points against Carolina. How's that MVP caliber? It's not. This guy is not an MVP. Yes, he should be in the top 10 for MVP voting because he did have a good year. But he is not. He's overrated. So if I were you, I would pipe it down. he was nothing this week. So, yes, everybody does have a bad day, but it's time to pipe down the CJ Stroud hype for real. He just played 3 games at home. He barely beat the Cardinals, lost to Jacksonville, and who has lost 2 straight, and he beat Denver by a couple points. And he barely beat Tampa. Moral of the story is this guy's overrated. So pipe it down, please, for sure. We're going to move on now to Baltimore. The Ravens beat the Rams 37-31 in Baltimore on Sunday. This was probably one of the better games, if not the true game of the week. Ravens looked impressive on offense for sure. They proved both offensively and defensively that this is the team to beat in the AFC this year. Lamar Jackson, he's having a great year. They're making it work even without top receivers. Their top tight end, Mark Andrews, is out for the year. Zay Flowers is likely stepping up. This team is full of depth. They're very good. They're being competitive, that's for sure. Definitely interesting for sure. They're going to keep the good things going. So, definitely good things. Sorry about that. But they just need to keep winning. They got a schedule coming up that's nice. Jacksonville. Then they go... their schedule's not bad. At San Francisco. Then they play Miami at home, which I definitely think they'll be Miami at home. And they'll play Pittsburgh at home. So, definitely not a horrible schedule. The only game on there, they could easily go 3-1 with that. I mean, lost to San Francisco, but that's about it. So I think things are definitely looking good for Baltimore. That is for sure. This week they go to Jacksonville, like I said. So, yeah, that'll be good. As for the Rams, they're not out of it yet. This NFC is really not the strongest. Yes, it does have potential for future years, but it is definitely not the strongest this year. Credit to the Rams, though. I mean, everybody counted them down and out. They were supposed to be this quote-unquote rebuilding team. They're certainly not. We all knew they would not be. I certainly knew they'd be competitive under McVay. I mean, obviously they're not like the class of San Francisco or Philly or Dallas is in, but they're still competitive, and if they get in, keep an eye out for them, but great effort for sure by the Rams. Nothing to be ashamed of. Great job. Bengals beat the Colts 34-14 in Cincinnati on Sunday afternoon. Just a couple quick takeaways from this one. Cincinnati's obviously very impressive right now. I mean, even without Joe Burrow, this team has been amazing. Jake Browning, he came in, he took over. He did very good on Sunday. The team looks very good right now, that's for sure. Remember, though, even though Joe Burrow's not there, they still have Chase, Mixon, Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Trent Irwin, I think that's his name. They have a lot of playmakers in Cincinnati, so keep an eye out on them. This team could easily get in and make some noise if the playoffs allow, so just keep an eye out on them, that is for sure. Sorry, I just was moving my computer. I'm leaning this on my computer because, as you can tell, I'm in a different location today. My couch, just decided I wanted to do a video today on my couch, so that's definitely a good one. I mean, I didn't have the tape dispenser that I have downstairs on my dad's desk when I do filming down there. So I just decided to use my laptop instead just to hold up the computer so I don't have to hold it the whole time, and that would be kind of creepy anyway, so yeah. But anyway, for the Colts now, it's not done yet. Even if you guys missed the playoffs this year, great job. Heck of a season to them. I mean, credit to Shane Steichen. He has this team back. 4-13 last year. Drafted a quarterback in the draft this year. That quarterback's out for the year, and Shane Steichen is still taking them to unbelievable heights. They're still in the middle of the playoff picture. Wait till you guys get Anthony Richardson back. You guys will be even better. So, just keep the faith. You're doing great things, and good job, Indianapolis, for sure. I thought this team would be the worst team in the AFC by a wide margin, but they're clearly not. So, credit to the Colts. That's for sure. On now to Cleveland, Ohio, where the Cleveland Browns defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it was like 31, I want to say. I don't know the exact. I think 31-27. Cleveland defeats Jacksonville. Couple quick takeaways from this one. The Browns, I mean, they're good. They're real good. I mean, they're 8-5. They're the top AFC wildcard team. This team went into Baltimore and won. They definitely have potential. Don't count out this team. I mean, they could make a deep run of the playoffs if things allow. Things allow them to. So, I don't know. So, it'll be interesting for sure. Hopefully, though, somebody can stop them because I'm not a Browns fan by any means. So, hopefully the Browns get stopped here sooner rather than later. But right now, it's all good in Cleveland, Ohio. That is for sure. They're sitting nice and pretty at 8-5. And this, again, is all without their franchise quarterback, Dwayne Thompson-Robinson. Joe Flacco is there. Joe Flacco is the starter for the remainder of the year now. Cleveland is on a high note. And their defense, while their defense has still been impressive, they are nowhere near the defense that they were earlier this season. So, that's all I want to say about that. Credit, though, to Cleveland. I mean, that just shows you how good their coaching is. Stefanski truly found ways to make the adjustments. Stefanski is finding ways to make it work. I give him all the credit in the world. I give the GM, Andrew Berry, a lot of credit as well. These people are doing a good job. I mean, Cleveland is really... I mean, the trade was a joke. And the fact they didn't have any first-round picks during the trade was also a joke. But guess what? The Browns are going to make the playoffs this year and all, most likely. So their draft pick will be low anyway. So what the heck does it matter? And Houston, at this point, it doesn't really matter to them either. Because they're on the finishing touches right now of this rebuild. So, I mean, you can consider it a gamble, and it certainly was a gamble, and it certainly did put the Browns in a lot of trouble. But guess what? Cleveland is not in a bad place right now. And this is without Deshaun Watson, and it's also without Nick Chubb. So therefore, even they're making it work with Flacco, who hadn't played in the league for years. Jerome Ford, a backup running back. And who's your elite receiver in Cleveland? Amari Cooper's not elite. Njoku, he had a great week this week. I called that. But he's not elite. Yes, the defense has impressed and has done a good job. But you know what? They've been a far cry from perfect as of late. So you got to give this Cleveland coaching staff and front office credit. You really do. They've shown what good front offices could do. So hats off to Cleveland. That's for sure. Stefanski now looks almost certain to get a fifth year there. Same with Barry. He's doing great too. We did the whole AFC North now. On to the South. We did Houston. We did Indy. We did Jacksonville. We'll do Tennessee at the very end. Hang on. Let me think. We're done with West. Or we'll come back. All right. NFC North time now. We're going to jump down to... We're going to head out to Chicago, Windy City, where we're going to talk about the Bears defeating the Lions 28-13 Sunday afternoon in Chicago, Illinois. Couple things. Great win for Chicago. Great win for Chicago. Sunday was a great day for Chicago. I mean, look, they're 5-8 right now. And we'll get to Carolina in a couple minutes because that's a complete and total mess. But they're poised to get the number one pick. And they're 5-8. And it seems like they're starting to turn the corner. I mean, things couldn't be any better right now if you're a Bears fan. You just beat the Lions. Your team looks like it's on the up. And you've pretty much clinched the number one pick. So great job to Ryan Poles. I give him a round of applause. Great job. I mean, you could have done much better than he has. Just fleeced Carolina. Got a number one overall pick because of it. Got DJ Moore because of it. Yeah, you're looking real good, Ryan Poles. This team is back to where this team is on the rise. Don't count this team out for sure. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Matt Eberflus another year. he finds a way to win 2 more games this year. And the schedules aren't horrible. I mean, they play at Cleveland, which is a loss, most likely. But then guess who they have at home? Both at home. Arizona and Atlanta. You could be easily looking at 7 wins if they win both those games. 7-10, 8-9. That's not bad. That's actually really good. So they're looking good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting, that's for sure. Good times are coming for Chicago. I guarantee that. I sounded like there a little bit when I said that about the Bears. It felt like I sounded like that little... If you guys watch the movie Brave, it's about this princess, I guess. I just remember watching it with my sister way back when, like when we were driving to... We used to take family road trips to Lake DC and stuff, and my dad always used to put on movies for us in the car, and I remember one of her movies was this movie Brave. I think the title was the girl in Brave named Rapunzel. I don't know, but I when I talked like that, it was just a flashback for me. Like I felt like I was talking. I sounded like her a little bit though, so that was a little weird there. But definitely, I do talk like that sometimes. Like when I get antsy and stuff about a certain team, I definitely got antsy there about the Bears. Because I am a Lions fan, as you probably know by now, guys. I am a Lions fan. And I got antsy there talking about the Bears because I'm a little worried because they're going to be competitive. Mark my words. This Bears team is on the rise. Now, let's talk about the other team in this equation. Is my Detroit Lions not looking good? They have not looked good since the bye. Barely beat the Chargers at SoFi, which is bad. Barely beat the Bears at home. Needed a comeback. I was there to beat them. Lost to the Packers at home. Not very good, now that you think about it. Almost blew a big lead in the Superdome against the Saints. Yeah, we won, but who cares? We almost blew a lead. And then this week we collapsed and were disappointed against Chicago. Not good. I mean, I kind of saw this loss coming, especially since we did, barely beat them at home. Chicago is a good team. That's a plus. They just struggled early, and yeah, it's the thing. But they'll be back. Like I just said. But Detroit needs to start winning. And the schedule from here is very tough. Denver, at Minnesota, at Dallas, Minnesota. That is a tough schedule, guys. So you blew this opportunity, and now you need to make wrongs into rights. You got to beat Denver, and I'm not confident. You have got to beat Denver, and I'm not confident at all. So that's all I have to say about that. All right, Tennessee South tilts we're going to discuss now. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 29-25 victory over the Atlanta Falcons Sunday afternoon. I didn't watch this game, but a couple quick tidbits from this one. Atlanta, yeah, they have the talent there to compete, but they're certainly not very good. They need a lot of work, especially on defense. I mean, the line for this game was 39.5. The Falcons alone allowed 29. Or, I'm sorry, the over-under for this game was 39.5. The Falcons' defense alone allowed 29 points. This defense needs work. They need to find ways to improve. And they're in a lot of trouble. I mean, 6-7. I mean, they're still very much alive for the division right now at 6-7. Sorry about that. But they need to get back in the winning column sooner rather than later if they want a legitimate chance at winning the South. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about them. So, definitely interesting for sure. Buccaneers, they're on the rise. They're 6-7. They go to Green Bay this coming week. They're going to look to get a big win in Titletown so that they can build up that cushion on the NFC South. That's for sure. Credit, though, to Todd Bowles, Dave Canales. I mean, they stayed in it. They stayed the course. They're fighting hard. And even though their roster's not very good, they're still 6-7, and they're still in a position where they can win this division and return to the playoffs. So definitely good vibes in Tampa right now. That's for sure. They just have to keep winning, though. The schedule gets tough at Green Bay, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and then at Carolina. The next 2 games I think will be tough for them, but then after that, it'll be pretty much straightforward from there for them. This whole division, though, is a complete disaster. So, yeah. You want to talk about another disaster? We're going to talk now about the Carolina Panthers. They are 1-12 after a loss to the New Orleans Saints Sunday afternoon at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. We'll start off with New Orleans because they won. I mean, this offense is a joke. Derek Carr's a joke. The team is obviously... The offense obviously put up 28 points, but look who they played. Carolina. I mean, they did look ugly at times, but they still found a way to get a blowout win, which I think is necessary in the NFL. I mean, I think this is a better roster than Tampa, for sure, and they proved it. I mean, they did lose to Tampa early in the year, but Tampa was hot then. They proved it on Sunday how they're better because Carolina only lost by 3 points in Tampa. They lost by 22 in New Orleans, so I think New Orleans is a much better roster than them. They're starting to get hot now, possibly some. If they can win a couple games here, I mean, who do they play Sunday? Why am I losing this? Hang on a minute, I gotta think here. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But the New Orleans Saints, I mean, their schedule after this, at the Rams, at Tampa, and then Atlanta. And then they play a Week 15 game against... How don't I know this? Sorry, I'm just thinking about who I think the Saints play this week. Why don't I know this? Okay, never mind. I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. So, oh, they play the Giants at home. Yeah, that just reminded Giants at home. I'm sorry about that, but Giants at home, at the Rams, at the Bucks, at Atlanta. Those are all very winnable games. They can easily finish 9-8, 10-7, and get in. So, this division remains wide open. But one team it's not wide open for, and this team absolutely is pathetic. The Carolina Panthers, they're 1-13, or they're 1-12 right now. They are a complete joke. They're the laughingstock of the league. I mean, they did go out and get Bryce Young. Traded all that draft capital away to get him. Hired Frank Reich. Had this all-star coaching staff. And they blew it. Thiel's career is being wasted. DJ Chark's career is being wasted there. Miles Sanders is being wasted. Bryce Young. It's the same. And I saw a tweet somebody said about Thomas Brown needing to be fired. And then his wife commented and said that they've already been fired. And that Tepper needs somebody to call plays there in Carolina. So that's the only reason he's there for these last 4 weeks. It truly is the same. And I hate to say this, because he is a Pitt graduate and a Pittsburgh native. I'm sorry, I got this backwards. Pittsburgh native and Pitt graduate. And he does truly seem like a good guy with the right intentions, but David Tepper as an owner is kind of pathetic. It seems like him and Fitter are both. It seems like are the ones who have ruined this team. Fitter seems just like not a good guy. He seems like the problem here, and I think Tepper needs to pull the trigger and pull him. I mean, just look, he got annihilated in a trade by Ryan Poles. Poles absolutely destroyed him in that trade, so give a lot of credit to Poles. But that trade, he didn't only win it, he destroyed Fitter. And he's going to get the chance do it again this year because he'll have the number 1 pick again this year. So that's definitely interesting, that's for sure. Yep. One more thing about Chicago, too, I want to go back to. Let's go back to Detroit and Chicago for just 1 minute, then we'll talk about Carolina a little more. That number 1 pick this year, what they do with that pick and this draft as a whole will define Ryan Poles' tenure as the GM of the Chicago Bears. If he trades it away and Williams lights it up, he will have passed on Williams and Stroud and kept Fields. If he takes it and Williams lights it up, he will look like a genius. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But the pick will define his tenure. Back to Carolina, though. Tepper, it seems like he just wants too much control. So, I get it, Carolina fans. You're frustrated, and I totally get it. So, hopefully Tepper can turn this thing around for you guys. That's for sure. So, it's unfortunate, but I think... And even looking at the McCaffrey trade, they got a couple late-round picks out of that, too. They traded 2 of those late-round picks to Pittsburgh so that they could move up and get DJ Johnson, who I haven't even heard his name this year. Jonathan Mingo is a bust. Bryce Young's been a bust so far. I mean, I feel bad for these guys. They're in a terrible situation in Carolina. So, that's all I have to say about that. Panthers are in trouble for a long, long time. So, yeah. That's them. Moving on now to a couple 4 o'clock games here we got. And I'll try to be quick with these because I want to do some of my studies. It's finals week. So, yay. Take some tests this week, get them over with, get good grades, and enjoy winter break for me. So, yeah, definitely trying to be quick with this episode so I can get to the books for finals. So, yeah. Let's talk, though, right now about the game between the Seahawks and the Niners. Niners won this game 28-16. Definitely not as high scoring as a game as I would have expected, but big win for San Francisco. They've officially clinched the playoff berth, and they'll probably end up this week clinching the division with a win over Arizona in Arizona. So there will be a lot of home playoff games in San Francisco. This team is dominant. This team's probably going to go to the Super Bowl and win it. So definitely good things for sure right now in San Fran. So got to give Shanahan, John Lynch, the whole team, everybody credit there. They've done an amazing job, and look how good they've been. So, yeah, definitely good vibes in San Francisco. That's for sure. Moving down the line here to Seattle. Yeah, definitely tough loss for sure. This team does have promise. It's just a tough schedule. 6-7 right now. Philly coming in. It's certainly not over because they have Philly at the Titans, Pittsburgh, and then at Arizona. It's certainly not over, but it's certainly not feeling too good right now if you're a Seahawks fan. So, hopefully, sooner rather than later, the team bounces back, though. So, just keep an eye out on that. But, best to Seattle. I mean, this is definitely a talented team. So, hopefully they turn things around. Geno Smith, though, without Dave Canales, who's Baker Mayfield's OC in Tampa, not very good this year, I heard. He's not having the best of years. So, hopefully in the future he can bounce back. That's for sure. Next up, we got the Broncos and the... Oh, no, we don't actually have the Broncos and the Chargers. We got to talk about this one. Because this was probably the most interesting game of the week. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 3-0 on Sunday afternoon. Yes, you heard that right. 3-0. 1 field goal was scored. 1. Wow. My biggest takeaway from this one is one thing. The NFL clearly does not like this. They did not want to see something like this happen. But guess what? It did happen. So take that, NFL. These offenses are horrible. Both of them. Aiden O'Connell is special. He signed in the preseason, and I truly do like the guy a lot. He's a good story and all that, but I think the Raiders do need a franchise quarterback, that's for sure. They're going to get a top 10 draft pick most likely this year. They need to go out there, just tear it all down, and then rebuild, get your franchise quarterback, and then get to work doing great things. So, it's the same they alienated Derek Carr. Now they need to go out and draft a franchise quarterback in all likelihood. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do in terms of getting their quarterback. So, yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. As for the Vikings, 3 points, but certainly troublesome because Jefferson, unfortunately, is out again. Dobbs got benched this week. They're in a little bit of a quarterback controversy, so it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do at the game's most important position. So that's all I have to take away from this one. Hopefully Justin Jefferson gets better soon. So, yeah. Not a whole lot to talk about in a game like that. I mean, the defenses were both obviously impressive, but yeah. I mean, this is just pathetic to see both these offenses struggle, so yeah. Personally, I thought this would be the Patriots versus Steelers game, but it was not. It was the Vikings versus Raiders, so may we live in interesting times. Broncos defeat the Chargers 24-7 in LA Sunday afternoon. Tidbits from this one. Broncos, obviously, they're impressive. Sean Payton's doing a nice job turning around the team. They're now 7-6. Only lost one game since the Kansas City loss back in October, and that was last week to Houston. So hopefully things turn around quickly here for Sean Payton and company. They only need 2 more wins to clinch a winning season. They do play New England this year, so that'll be 1 win. And then Detroit, the Chargers, and the Raiders, they should be easily able to get 2 wins in that stretch. So, good vibes coming for Denver. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Personally, I think they're probably get that schedule. They are probably a playoff team this year. So, credit to Sean Payton. A lot of credit to Sean Payton. Good job, Sean. He did do a nice job. I mean, I counted him out early in the year. He did look like a complete and total idiot early in the year after that Jets loss and their struggles. But he found a way. He found a way to turn it around. And now look where they are. Most likely headed to the playoffs. So good job, Sean Payton. Chargers, it stinks that Justin Herbert's out. Eckler has had a poor year. Quinn Johnston, he's finally getting targets, but too little too late for Quinn Johnston. I think Brandon Staley's the problem. I like Brandon Staley a lot as a person. He's a hero, especially since he beat cancer and he's gone for a lot, and he's a really, really good guy. So he definitely, I feel bad for him in a way, but he's got to go if you're LA. He has got to go. I mean, he's on a short list right now, and this is definitely most likely his last 4 games as the head coach of the LA Chargers. And I think he's going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere next year. So definitely be interesting to see where he's a defensive coordinator around 2024. But I doubt he's the head coach of the LA Chargers. So that's what I have to say about that. I think to get the most out of Justin Herbert, they need to get a young offensive guru in there. I think this would be the perfect situation for Ben Johnson to go to. And if I were Ben Johnson, this is the job I would want the most to go to, because if you're looking at the jobs that might become available, Carolina sucks. Raiders would be a possible good fit if he could get and develop his franchise quarterback there. But I think the Chargers, I think the ceiling is sky high there. And I do think this is truly the best fit for him as a head coach. I think Ben Johnson and the Chargers would be the perfect match, because I think it would be great. He'd get the most out of Justin Herbert. Herbert would do great things, and it would be great. So this is where having a guy like Ben Johnson would really be good. So this is what they could use. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. All right, moving down the line here. Buffalo and Kansas City. Bills won this game 20-17 over the Chiefs. Second consecutive loss for the Chiefs. Second consecutive loss with Taylor Swift in attendance for the Chiefs. So definitely not good vibes in Kansas City. And I thought that Kelsey play was amazing. Kelsey, or if you didn't see it at the end of the game, the play that, and this is where Andy Reid gets creative. It was a shame this play was called back. It really was, but it was probably the right call. So 20-17 with less than 2 minutes left. Mahomes snaps it. Mahomes throws the ball to Kelsey. Kelsey has a great run. Then he pitches it like this to Tony. Tony scores the touchdown. Chiefs take the lead. Chiefs appear poised to win. Not so fast. After further review, there was a flag, and the play was on Tony, and the play was taken back. Bills won the game. There's been 3 or 4 games this year where the Chiefs have beat themselves. This is the problem. Mahomes does not have a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, Kelsey's good. He's a good tight end, but he's not a number 1 receiver. So if I were the Chiefs, you got to improve your receivers, and that's through the draft. And they've done an amazing job with that. I mean, Rasheed Rice has done good. They need to get the ball to him more. Tony's undisciplined. And Tony ultimately, I think, needs to be cut. He's one of the biggest draft busts in NFL history, and he needs to change the scenery. So that's what I have to say about that. In terms of Kelsey, he's done amazing. He's definitely an amazing playmaker. But he needs help. I mean, him and Mahomes, they're a good combo. But they can't do it alone. And that's finally starting to show. And the defense didn't play a bad game for Kansas City. They really didn't. Mahomes was the problem in this one. I think Mahomes probably cost them this game, unfortunately. And his attitude on the sidelines was horrible. Horrible, to say the least. I would be the same way, though. I mean, I get it, he's upset, but who's he upset at? His receivers or the refs? If Mahomes is mad about the receiver situation, then he needs to go to Brett Veach's office this spring after the season's over and tell him about it and give him a list of receivers he likes for the draft for the Chiefs to go get. Because this is Mahomes' team. And I'm not saying this is a career-ending thing, but if Kelsey's looking at Travis Kelce's age, and the fact that he's in this relationship with Taylor Swift, and he's going to want to be spending more time with her in the coming years, I guarantee you she's not done releasing music, though. She's going to probably release 15 more albums throughout her career, and that's probably not a bad thing. He's still going to want to spend more time with her and be more supportive of her if this gets really serious, to the point where they're considering marriage, Kelce and Swift. He's going to want to... I have a feeling that Taylor Swift's going to want him to do the same thing that Giselle wanted Tom Brady to do. Step away and create more time with her. And looking at Kelce's age, he's 31, 32. He realistically might only have 2 or 3 seasons left. Maybe 4 or 5, but I think 4 seasons is probably the cap for him. He's been for a lot as a tight end. I mean, look at Gronk. It's not like Gronk retired really late. And remember too, Kelce blocks occasionally on some plays. So he's between the blocking and the grind, with the catching and all that being tackled, it's a lot on a tight end. It really is. So in the draft this year, I mean, Kansas City might have 3 or 4 more. They probably are going to win 2 or 3 more rings with Mahomes. I don't think this is their year. I think they'll be back in next year or the year after for a Super Bowl. But don't count them out, though. But after the season ends, I think Mahomes and Kelsey need to go to Brett Veach's office and have a meeting with him. Mahomes needs to tell Brett Veach, I was frustrated, and my receivers this year, they weren't very helpful. I was trying my best to help them, tutor them, mentor them, teach them. But I need a better receiver. These are a list of receivers that I think are talented, that I think you should consider adding in the draft. Then, Kelsey needs to go to Mahomes' office. Not Mahomes, I'm sorry, Brett Veach's office. And say, hey, look, things between me and Taylor are starting to get serious. I want to spend as much time with her as possible. And now, if they are serious, and Taylor Swift thinks he wants to marry Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce thinks he wants to marry Taylor Swift, his career is going to probably start to wind down. Yes, he does enjoy supporting him, but there's going to become a point, if they're together for a long duration of time, where she's going to really want him to be spending more time with her. And less time with football. Especially with his age. I mean, he was playing college at Cincinnati when they were beating Pitt in the Big East. That was a long time ago. So that was when him and Jason were real good at Cincinnati. But if you look at it now, I mean, Kelsey was drafted in 2013. It's been 10 years, so he's like 21 or 31, 32. Realistically, I think he has 2 or 3 years. He needs to go to Brett Veach and give him a list of tight ends this year and say, I only have 2 or 3 years left of this game. Here are some good tight ends that I want you to consider drafting so that I can groom and mentor the next great tight end for the Chiefs. That's what I want to do. I want to leave my legacy not only as the star who helped win you 2 Super Bowls, not only as the one who made Taylor Swift a Chiefs fan, but also, most importantly, as the one who helped groom the next great tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think him and Mahomes need to seriously consider doing this. Because it will help the franchise tremendously. That's for sure. So that's what I have to say about that. We're going to move now on to Buffalo real quickly here. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they're definitely in the playoff race. 7-6. Not a bad place to be right now. So good things coming for Buffalo. They're going to find a way to sneak on in. I can tell you that. So yeah, possibly good things in Buffalo for sure. Good win, though, for the Bills. Moving on now to Sunday Night Football. Eagles got trounced by the Cowboys. Cowboys won that game 33-13. Couple quick tidbits. The Cowboys are for real. They're much better than Philly. We knew this. They barely lost to Philly at home this year. And they destroyed Philly in Dallas. Dallas is a much better team this year. They deserve to win the division. This is their best shot if they get a Super Bowl. I truly do believe this is their best shot at the Super Bowl this year. So, good vibes in Dallas, that's for sure. Great win. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, they're making it happen. Same with their defense. So, yeah, that's for sure. Philly's lost 2 straight now. They're between a rock and a hard place, so not good. But the good thing for them is after this week with Seattle, the schedule gets really easy. Giants 2 times, and then the Cardinals. So, Philly, you guys are not looking good right now, but you have the chance to redeem yourself, and I'm more than confident that Philly will redeem themselves. So, that's all I have to say about that. How about Jalen Carter, though, man? He's done great things for Philly. Look at him. That big fumble return recovery, that was huge. But let's have a talk about this Philly offense. No touchdowns this whole game. Rather impressive for Dallas. And now the question becomes, can this Philly offense perform at the highest level? I don't know, and I don't think so. I truly don't think this is their year. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. 2 Monday night games, and they were both major upsets. We're going to start off with the Packers losing to the Giants 24-22. This was an amazing game, interesting game for sure. Matt LaFleur lost his streak of having perfect Decembers. The Giants, led by Brian Daboll, got the first win of December over Matt LaFleur. Great win for the Giants. Tommy DeVito, man, he is the guy. I didn't expect a whole lot out of him, but he's proving himself. He is the guy. So good job, Tommy DeVito. Yeah, good vibes for him. So the Giants are still in this. They're only like a game back. They're 5-8 right now. Not pretty, but certainly not bad either. You're only a game back. So, yeah. They could get a playoff spot, but they can also get a top 10 pick. So, either or is not bad for the New York Football Giants. So, good job to the Giants, that's for sure. Packers, yeah, it's not good. Not good time to be a Packers fan, I'll tell you that right now. 6-7. You guys just rattled off a couple wins there real nicely. Good job to the Packers. However, they did get it truly against these Giants. I mean, the Giants humbled them for sure. Good job to the Giants for humbling the Packers. They did need humbled. That is for sure. But Jayden Reed, man, he's amazing. I've read articles comparing him to the next Stephon Diggs. I totally agree with that. He's the man. He is impressive. So, I wish the Steelers would have got him. So, good job, Jayden Reed, for sure. This is an A-plus pick. Musgrave, for sure, is good. Jones and Dillon are good. They have the talent. It's just how they can properly utilize it. So, hopefully good vibes coming soon to Green Bay. This is a team I would really like to see succeed in the future. So, yeah. This was a massive upset, though, last night. Tennessee defeats Miami 28-27 in Miami. What an upset. Congratulations to Levis. D-Hop had a big night. King Henry had a big night. Wow. This Titans offense showed what it could be. Will Levis showed he is the guy in Nashville. So, great night for sure to be a Titans fan. D-Hop, you're the man. Your quarterback has potential. So, yeah, good night for Will Levis, good night for Tennessee. As for Miami, without Tyreek Hill, this team's nothing. This team's finding ways to lose now. This team is the biggest frauds in the league. Everybody says about Mike McDaniel this, Mike McDaniel that, how amazing Mike McDaniel has done. Yeah, right. Can't even beat the Tennessee Titans. This team's frauds. They're easily going to be an early exit in the playoffs. Don't buy much stock into this team. So, yeah, they're super overrated. That's all I have to say. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video today. I'm sorry it was so quick. I breezed through things. I barely watched any football this weekend, to be honest with you. Just been busy, just with finals, everything like that. I'll watch probably a lot more this upcoming weekend in the next couple weeks for sure. I'll have more takes on that, better takes on that. The videos will be able to be longer because I'll have no schoolwork to do, thankfully. So yeah, that'll be impressive, that's for sure. That's all I have for you guys today. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. Pray for Israel. Enjoy this week. And as always, peace. See you guys around.